I'm Kristen Oaks-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
We are at the Cabildo in New Orleans, the site of the Louisiana Purchase Transfer in 1803. This building was built when the Spanish ruled Louisiana between 1795 and 1799 and served as the center of New Orleans government until 1853.
The reason we're here and not in our studio is because New Orleans hosted the 96th annual convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation. More than 1,500 farmers, ranchers, and their families gathered at the New Orleans Marriott to discuss farm policy, the future for farm commodities, and have a great time as well. We'll share more highlights from the convention a little bit later in the show.
Well, if you know New Orleans culture, you know what a second line is. That jazzy, wild follow-up that spontaneously forms after a Mardi Gras parade is a city tradition.
A new tradition is formed in the city. TWILA's Neil Melanson brings us to the Second Line Brewery, a fresh new taste with a timeless quality.
New Orleans is a city known for its good time, especially for its music and drinks, often taken together. But outside of the downtown and French Quarter area, the neighborhoods of Mid-City are often quiet. Even here, though, you can find good times, named appropriately for Mardi Gras after parties. Second Line Brewery is an oasis for neighborhood beer lovers who can't get enough of this up-and-coming favorite.
And when we're out, I usually will try anything that's local listed on the menu.
The atmosphere is definitely one ingredient, but it's what's behind the scenes that makes Second Line special. Mark Logan is not only the co-founder, but also a chemist who makes sure that great taste is down to a science.
Contents of the headspace with the liquid. There we'll get an idea of how much dissolved oxygen is actually contained in the product.
It's a complicated process, but one thing remains simple: fresh ingredients. The grains, hops, and yeast to make Second Line brews come from all over the world, and they're hoping to start using Louisiana rice soon. In the meantime, Logan also takes something else from agriculture: the work ethic.
Beer never sleeps. So beer's 24/7. If the beer has to be moved or some other step in the process has to be performed, and it's Sunday morning, well then that's when it gets done.
That work ethic may seem like the opposite of a good time, but it's like they say, work hard, play hard. After getting to see this entire process, though, I had to try it.
So Mark, tell me about this West Coast IPA. We saw it get bottled today. What's in it and how is it?
It's awesome. I love it fresh. It's our most popular beer. Have a hard time keeping up with it. It's a traditional West Coast style IPA, hoppy with a nice assertive bitterness at the end. Not too high on the alcohol, so you can have more than one and still be in control. Right. So yeah, it's a lovely beer. We sell a lot of it.
I'm gonna have to get some for my wife. She's a huge IPA fan. I have the brown ale, and I've had a couple sips of it. It's really good so far, and if the IPA is anything like this, it's really good. So cheers, thank you very much.
Cheers, our pleasure. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Neil Melanson. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Neil, that beer looks good. Gonna have to talk with you a little bit later about not bringing any back. Second Line Brewery produces more than 800 barrels of beer every year and plans to expand by 20 to 25% in the next year or two. That expansion better include sharing with Avery Davidson.
Yeah, Neil, I can tell you, you're probably in trouble. Well, sugarcane is Louisiana's top money-making row crop. It's also a crop that grows unlike any other.
So when Michelle Miller, better known as the Farm Babe, left her home in Iowa to visit Louisiana, there was one place we had to take her, to Reserve, just outside of New Orleans, to see a sugarcane farm and to get a tour from a farmer.
We have an actual field of cane that sprouted out of the ground in February.
St. James Parish sugarcane farmer Greg Gravois is taking the farm babe Michelle Miller on her first tour of a sugarcane farm. Being from Iowa, Miller is surprised to learn the crop can grow an inch a day.
This cane is starting to grow and the actual nodes are appearing. And right here, you can see each node.
It's not just how the plant grows that intrigues Miller, but how farmers plant sugarcane using whole stalks buried under a layer of soil.
That is so interesting. So the the seed itself is actually like
This is the cane seed right
that's
here.
just huge. It's not like
It's
what I'm
not-
used to.
It's not like a grain where
Right.
you put it in a,
It's so different
in a
than what I'm
box
used
planter.
to.
This is actually, we're going to lay the whole stalk, but
Wow.
imagine it being about 10 feet tall later on.
That is so cool.
Gravois takes Miller to see the unique tools used for a unique crop.
It'll feed through there. Got some disc blades at the bottom.
All specialized to work in Louisiana, which is the northernmost place farmers grow sugarcane.
I love getting to know different farmers from different crops because they're just so knowledgeable. I wish more people took the time to really understand how their food is produced direct from the farmers, rather than the food marketing or the misinformation or activists or whatever, because if you go to the source of how your food is produced, I'm just blown away at the amount of knowledge and science that goes into everything that's produced.
Through social media, she can do us so much good and portray our story in a positive way. And anytime someone in an area may have a question on sugar, a story like this may answer some questions and tell people what we do.
As you can tell, Miller had a lot of fun learning about sugarcane from Gravois. She also posted a few pictures and even did a video for Snapchat for her followers, shot by yours truly.
Of course. And that brings us back to the 96th Annual Convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau, where Miller was a guest speaker at the social media workshop. The Farm Babe, of course, has found fame in speaking out on ag issues online and brought some of that magic here to New Orleans. Miller not only spoke passionately about agriculture, but also about the need for farmers to communicate what they do. In an age where there are so many social media platforms, it's easy to get lost. But that is exactly what opponents of our industry are hoping for, she said. The best way to combat that is to use your favorite social media platform to show the love that goes into our plants, animals, and the land. Of course, while she was speaking, she was also live on Facebook. And Avery, I can tell you, it was so good to hear someone else as passionate about telling the story of agriculture as I am. I was really encouraged by the number of followers she has, and she has certainly showed them the best of Louisiana agriculture this past week.
Well, I know when she was out there on the farm with Greg, she was genuinely interested in everything that they did, genuinely wanting to go up and play around on all the equipment. It was really cool.
She was really excited to learn about crawfish too, and I think she got some here in New Orleans,
I
so
know
I'm glad
she
about
did.
that.
And you can find out if she did by going over to her page online. We'll link you to all of the Farm Babe social media on our website at twilatv.org.
Well, the 96th Annual Convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau is a time to honor those volunteers and parish farm bureaus for all of the hard work they do all year long.
We'll start with a look at the awards given to members of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers, people 35 and younger involved in agriculture.
Jamie Boudreaux Lee of Vermilion Parish is the winner of the 2018 Louisiana Farm Bureau Excellence in Agriculture Award. This award is designed to recognize young farmers and ranchers who do not earn the majority of their income from an owned agricultural operation, but are actively contributing and growing through their involvement in Farm Bureau and the agricultural industry. For winning, Lee receives $7,500 towards the purchase of a four-wheel ATV, courtesy of Louisiana Land Bank, an all-expense-paid trip to the 2019 American Farm Bureau Federation Convention here in New Orleans, $1,500 in equipment rentals, courtesy of H&E Equipment Services, as well as other cash prizes.
Casey Luckett of East Baton Rouge Parish is the 2018 Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Outstanding Young Farm Woman. Luckett has a farm in Pride, Louisiana, where she and her husband Derek grow fruits and vegetables and sell them directly to consumers via a consumer-supported agriculture or CSA system. For winning, Luckett receives a $2,000 gift card from the Louisiana Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, an all-expense-paid trip to the 2019 American Farm Bureau Federation Convention, $1,500 in equipment rentals, courtesy of H&E Equipment Services, as well as other cash prizes.
Jacob and Carrie Rumbaugh of Caddo Parish received the Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award. The Rumbaughs manage 1,300 acres of wheat, soybeans, corn, and cattle pastures in Dixie, Louisiana. The Achievement Award recognizes farmers and ranchers under the age of 35 who have thriving operations and a strong involvement in Farm Bureau. For winning the Achievement Award, the Rumbaughs received $35,000 cash from the Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, an all-expense-paid trip to the 2019 American Farm Bureau Federation Convention, $1,500 in equipment rentals, courtesy of H&E Equipment Services, as well as other cash prizes.
With the way commodity markets are, technology, farming in general, you know, if you do the same thing year to year, you're falling behind, you know, and it's not like you're competing against necessarily your fellow farmers, but you've got to keep up with the trends. Yields are always trending up. It seems like commodity prices are trending down. So, if you can't produce, you can't feed your family.
The top prize for any Parish Farm Bureau is the President's Award. For the second year in a row, the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation recognized the Rapides Parish Farm Bureau with the President's Award. Rapides Parish Farm Bureau President Bill Cheek accepted the award from Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation President Ronnie Anderson. The President's Award goes to the Parish Farm Bureau that excels in membership, advocacy, and public relations over the past year.
We learned a little bit more about how to get things done. But really and truly, it's just everybody pitching in and doing their part. And sometimes it's just not easy to get everything done, but it takes a lot of hard work, takes a good staff to do it, and we feel like that over the years we've just really been fortunate enough to have that kind of staff.
Now, the crowning achievement of convention, you might say, is Saturday night's Queen's Contest.
Our 2018 Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation Queen is Caroline Elizabeth Hardy of Jeff Davis Parish.
As you just heard, Caroline Hardy is the 2018 Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen. Caroline first reigned in Jeff Davis Parish and took home the crown here in New Orleans. She is the daughter of Kevin and Charla Hardy of Welsh. Caroline faced some stiff competition during the contest. First runner-up was Victoria Roussel of Vermilion Parish. Second runner-up was Brooke Como of Acadia Parish. Finally, Miss Congeniality was named by her peers. Abby Stogner of Washington Parish was given the honor Saturday night. Congratulations to all who competed Saturday night. You're all queens to me. To see pictures and videos from the 96th Annual Convention, visit our website at twilatv.org. You can even watch live streams of each of the night events.
Still to come on TWILA, the Twitterverse was a tweeting and Facebook was facing, all through the 96th Annual Convention of the Louisiana Farm Bureau. We'll show you some of our favorite posts.
But first, I'm going to a garden that thousands visit every year, even if they don't see it. Blooming on the Bayou is up next.
We continue with this special edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture from the Cabildo. And how do you like my new co-host? One of the reproductions of a Native American found here at the Cabildo. You can learn lots about the history of Louisiana here, so you want to come out and visit for sure. Downtown New Orleans is filled with the sounds of sirens, streetcars, and the clatter of horse and buggies rolling down the pavement. And you may notice that my partner Kristen has wandered off and I've gotten this nice replacement. Well, knowing her, she's looking for something blooming on the bayou.
So we're here in New Orleans for the Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention, and I know what you're thinking. How on earth are we going to do a blooming on the bayou? Well, let's go see if we can find some green space. Okay guys, we're here on the top of the New Orleans Convention Center. You can see the background of the Riverwalk. And we're here with Erica Nolan, founder of Instar Farms. And she started a very special project on the top of the Convention Center. And Erica, tell me a little bit about how you started this business, first of all.
Absolutely, it's really exciting. So when I bought my first home, I bought it with the intention of building my urban farm model with all raised beds, all growing organically. And as soon as I built those raised beds, the business exploded. Everybody wanted to do the same, grow their own food in their own backyard. And 3 years later, here we are atop of the New Orleans Convention Center.
And so how did this idea come about?
So the Convention Center and Centerplate, who is the food distributor for the Convention Center, reached out to me because they knew what I was doing and they wanted the same. They had this empty concrete space that wasn't being used for anything. And it's been the perfect place to build a 220-foot long raised bed and grow food. And so we got started. This is our second season and it's just been a huge success.
Okay, well let's go take a look at all of the things that you're growing here and how you got it started.
Well, we knew we wanted this garden on the rooftop in this unused concrete space. And as far as where to place it, we wanted it along the perimeter of the rooftop because that was the most structural support for this 220-foot long raised bed. We had these 1,000+ pound bags of soil provided by Laughing Buddha Nursery. And in order to get those bags up here, we used a crane. So a crane lifted up these bags, we held them over the beds, cut them open, and just filled the whole thing up. It was epic.
Wow, that was a project and a half,
Yeah,
I bet.
it was.
Broken up between your 4 major crops that you've got out here right now. How did you guys decide which crops that you're going to grow up here?
Yeah, so we wanted to do, out of the 220-foot long bed, we wanted to divide it up into 4 major crops, so that way we could get as much of one type of vegetable as possible. Specifically to the rooftop, it's been important to find varieties that either don't get too big, don't get too tall. So we're growing a bunch of dwarf varieties because with it being on the rooftop, wind can be an issue and it can knock down plants. Right here, we're growing sugar baby watermelons. They're a smaller watermelon than your larger watermelons, and so we'll end up getting more of these smaller watermelons instead of just like a few larger watermelons. We could certainly grow a variety, but in order to feed so many people here at the convention center, it's ideal that we just pick a few groups, and that way we can get more harvest from those.
We use every bit of it. It goes to most of our signature dishes and things like that. Anywhere we can use, we design seasonal menus around the garden, so depending on what harvest we can get out of it is what we focus our menus on, and we can't really keep enough coming out of the garden, so we're looking at several ways to expand.
So the flowers interspersed in this raised bed was a major part of the design because in the middle of downtown New Orleans, pollination can be an issue. Naturally, bees and other pollinators don't want to hang out in the middle of downtown. So we have planted a bunch of flowers that will attract the pollinators, and as you can see, we've got sweat bees going crazy right now over this rudbeckia, black-eyed Susans, some gaura, and we've seen all kinds of pollinators, honeybees, some parasitic wasps, and we've also seen hummingbirds. So it's pretty amazing the life that has come up here since we planted this garden.
Erica, thank you so much for showing us this little piece of agriculture that's up here in the middle of downtown New Orleans. You wouldn't even know it's here. I think it's great how you're adding green to a very cinder block landscape. But you also help people grow their own garden at home if they need some help in urban areas.
I love to tell folks that I'm happy just to be a resource. So they can send me pictures of problems or pests and I will identify them and help get them on a good route.
And you can submit your pictures, problems, questions with the hashtag Bayou Blooms, and we'll send them over to her and she can help us out answering some of those questions. And another thing that y'all have partnered with is the Farm to Table conference that's here every September?
Yes, every September. This year it is September 7th and 8th. It's a Friday and Saturday. And it is so much fun. Every year it gets better. They usually have some animals, they'll have information sessions, food, music. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm sure we'll be there to check it out, and we'll post a link to the conference and to Instar Farms on our website. Thank you so much for joining us and inviting us up here, Erica.
Thank you.
So we'll see you next time, Blooming on the Bayou.
We continue now with our special edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture from the Cabildo, which is right there in Jackson Square. So lots of street musicians, lots of artists. You might hear some things coming through the microphone right now.
We can definitely hear it. I don't know if you guys at home can.
In this week's special edition of Trending on TWILA, we show you how the 96th annual convention made its way out of New Orleans.
This week's festivities had social media buzzing with posts. Snapchat filters and Facebook live stream videos racked up a record number of views from folks who couldn't make it to New Orleans, while convention goers posted videos, pictures, and statuses all week with the hashtag LFBF18.
Some were getting a head start in ag policy, like Lori Richard's son,
while others, like Renee Zerang's daughters, relaxed on the gator even if they couldn't take it for a spin.
The Farm Bureau photo booth was a hit again this year. In fact, you folks snapped more than 500 pictures at the booth during convention.
And we even managed to get Farm Bureau President Ronnie Anderson to take a turn in the booth again this year, but this time we got Miss Vivian to join in on the action too.
And some of you even auditioned for our jobs, and I think that I have to worry now.
I think those TWILA microphones were the hit of the photo booth this year. It seemed like everybody wanted one. Well, thank you for sharing all of your convention experiences with us.
Something else that was trending this week were the videos that were shown at our events each night, produced by my lovely co-host, Kristen Ashley Oaks White.
Thank you, Avery. They do mean a lot to me, and they take a lot of time and effort that goes into them. And we're going to leave you with one of those this week as our very special TWILA Boost. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of TWILA.
You can find all of our convention coverage from the 96th Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention online on our website at twilatv.org. And be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. But before we go, I want to thank Madison, Barry, Charlie, and everyone here at the Cabildo for giving us a great place to shoot the show. We love the Louisiana State Museums, and you should too, and you should visit any chance that you get.
For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. Now we hope you enjoy the process. A certain quality inhabits this land. It allows your heart to fall back and rest, opening the senses to a mannered rhythm.
The seasons revolving, past, present, future, to past again.
Birthing spring welcomes new life.
Bouncing from blade to blade.
And possibility is sown in rows.
There's a mix of old and new here.
Fresh rubber and rigid steel plow, as worn hands drive sweet cane.
The soil of my grandfather's toil warms the seeds of our children's tomorrows.
Here realization comes deeply.
Slowly, surely, inherently.
As the seasons change, something is brought out of us.
Something that was always there.
In the high ocean of corn rising above head.
In the crunching grass beneath borrowed boots.
In the chorus of cows lowing across the pasture.
Our land is measured in the weights of full traps and full of heart.
It's a place where water falls in a paradox of Goldilocks forms.
Too little, too much,
or just enough.
The burning light of summer days wanes on forever,
drying the soybeans into a golden harvest.
Dust clouds rolling through one field as glowing bunches of ivory bloom through the next.
Harvest has a rhythm recognized by our grandfathers and theirs before them.
Do you hear it?
Listen. Listen.
Pick, cut, dump, repeat.
Pick, cut, dump, repeat.
Worried minds fuel hurried hands. His harvest demands early mornings,
long days, and late nights.
Sunset cruises through open fields, drinking in that golden light, like fuel for the thing that's already been born inside each of us.
This is the struggle of farming the land, of marshaling its bounty. It's hard and it's beautiful. And we're there, in the middle of it all, in the midst of this painstaking, glorious process. The process called farming.